Michael Bull for, and this is Uncut News. If you lost all your money to Yuri Dominguez, don't worry, Nondalal is coming to the rescue. The Attorney General and perpetual shades wearer confirmed that he is allowing Dominguez's company, Accelerated Capital Firm Incorporated, to open a bank account to transfer funds from the company's presumed electronic accounts overseas back to some of the persons who were swindled. Now, how exactly this will work, I do not know, but since his company said the money is there, Nondalal is saying, well then Dominguez, pay up. So we'll see how that turns out. Moving on, depending on who you are, this is probably the best or worst news you'll hear all day. Yesterday, the long arm of the law caught up with spreadsheet Mingo and 3 of the persons who supposedly worked closely with him during the alleged big rig. He was escorted to the CID headquarters where he is being questioned in relation to the whole issue. One of the officials has been identified as 42-year-old Carolyn Duncan, a registration officer attached to the GCOM office in Better Hope. According to police, she was also attached to Mingo's secretariat. The police, however, have not released the identity of the other 2 GCOM officials. Good news for all you old folks who collect pensions. The local government ministry is considering the implementation of a system that would allow pensioners to collect their money closer to home. They are working with the regional administrations to have cashiers go out to individual villages and have the old folks meet them there instead of the current system that requires everyone to rush the post office on the 1st of the month. Before we continue, I thought you should know that Triple G Spot sells big people bedroom toys, if you know what I mean. Plus, they are doing delivery in Berbice and Linton for cheap, and Georgetown for free. Call them on telephone number 649-3679, or message them on Facebook at Triple G Spot. I may have to put out an order for myself because this single life is no fun. And now for crime news. Earlier this month, 38-year-old convicted wife killer and former JDF captain Wayne Sandy was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after serving 20 years. Now, seemingly without a shred of remorse, he has moved to the appeal courts to have his sentence reduced, as he is contending that the sentence is excessive. He was initially charged with the capital offense of murder but opted to plead guilty to the lesser offense of manslaughter. And another soldier, 30-year-old GDF Lance Corporal Tydell Metten, is currently recovering after being shot in a suspected execution attempt on Tuesday night at 1st Street, Kururu. According to reports, Metten was standing at the street corner talking on the phone when 2 men wearing hoodies approached and shot him once in the chest. The suspect fled on foot. He was initially treated at the medical unit at the GDF's Tamari base before being subsequently referred to the Georgetown Public Hospital. There have not been any arrests as yet. Nonetheless, an investigation is ongoing. Turning our attention to Berbice, somebody recently snitched on some taxi driver in quarantine, and on Tuesday the police swooped down on his home in Springlands Village to seize several weapons. The search was conducted on the home of a 27-year-old taxi driver. The police confiscated a black and brown 9mm pistol, a magazine containing 4 live rounds, a sports bow and arrow, a 12-gauge shotgun wrapped in black plastic with scotch tape, and a black airsoft gun with gas and pellets. The taxi driver and his wife remain in police custody. Staying in Berbice, 2 separate groups of Cuban nationals who illegally entered the country were arrested this month. Now, reports are surfacing that the police guards allowed the detainees, who are currently being held in Rose Hall, to leave the quarantine facility on numerous occasions to shop at supermarkets and liquor stores in the area. What's even more concerning is that 5 of the 13 cases of the Rona in Berbice are Cubans. However, they did not say if one of those who were infected ever actually left the facility. Nevertheless, the regional chairman has since asked the region's new police commander to stop the practice. Wow. Do you see how harmful corruption is now? In the past, police corruption used to only cause crime. Now, it can trigger pandemics. You've always dreamed of owning your own car, but it seems like your foot is destined to be on the tar. Change your destiny. Bring your $800,000 savings down to BM Auto Sales at Lot 9 Crow Street, Georgetown. Tell them Noriko sent you to find out about their loan option or call them on telephone number 231-8451. PM Sold Auto Sales. It's your turn to drive. Now, let's look at news in the region and around the world. The government of the Bahamas is attempting to integrate street vendors into the formal economy. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said that his administration will review the current licensing and regulatory procedures for street vendors with the intention to enable them to be able to sell their products in safe and secure venues. They will even have the ability to apply for grants and training for many of them to improve their operations and to make them safer, especially in light of the ongoing pandemic. Years of corruption and fines have plunged the state-run Brazilian oil company Petrobras into debt. Now the massive petrol pumper is now forced to sell a total of 26 onshore and shallow water concessions, as well as a small refinery. According to the company, it is aiming to divest non-core assets to raise cash and focus on deep water and ultra-deep water developments, which is just basically fancy oil people talk for we spent out the money, so now we have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Now, students and teachers in Spain will hold a strike on September 16th, 17th, and 18th to reject the improvisation of the beginning of the school year. The student union spokesperson, Cora Torre, said that the students want the restart activities, but request that the, quote, disaster of distance education not be repeated, as thousands of students were left unable to finish classes due to a lack of internet access. They are calling on education authorities to come up with a better plan before sending students back to school. Take advantage of this fresh business opportunity. Become a digital top-up vendor with Cellular Plus and earn some extra cash. No fancy smartphone or internet required. Just show up with your Mingo pelter and you're good to go. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 and find out about their special offer. And now for our weird news story of the day. Here's a crazy one coming from Brazil. Flor Delis dos Santos de Souza is a gospel-singing Brazilian congresswoman who is now being accused of masterminding the assassination of her husband, who was once her adopted son. The favela-born celebrity congresswoman is now facing calls for her expulsion from Congress so she can face murder charges. The politician met and initially adopted Anderson do Carmo in 1991 when he was 14 years old and she was 30, and they married in 1998 after becoming romantically involved, meaning that she sexually groomed him. But anyway, this all came to an end when he was supposedly murdered during a robbery outside their home in June of 2019. But on Monday, investigators alleged that she was actually behind the murder with the help of at least 7 of the couple's 55 mostly adopted children. Police arrested 5 of the congresswoman's children and 1 granddaughter, but they were unable to detain Flor Delis since she enjoys parliamentary immunity, having been elected to Brazil's 513-member lower house in 2019. Fellow lawmakers have already started a petition calling for her dismissal. Well, at least our laws aren't that bad. The immunity is only available to presidents and not parliamentarians like them. Moving on to our uncut news, viewers poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comments and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, how do you feel about digital currencies? Is it the future, or should we leave it alone? Beyond the Image said, before the digital currency can be in effect, one has to have the information to understand what it does. Personally, I look forward to it being introduced into Guyana with systems in place to protect and observe how it's being done. We are all in an era where almost everything is now digital. Also, it can be more helpful as a means of preventing COVID-19. Tudi Amin said, knowing the disadvantages of using electronic dollars and knowing how Guyana works with disputing errors, we must consider when companies double charge and different fraud behind electronic dollars. We must be fully prepared to handle those situations before implementing electronic dollars. And finally, Michael Passard said, I don't think Guyana is ready for cryptocurrency. We don't have infrastructure in place. for data miners to use, plus the horrible power consumption of said data miners, as well as security, which is a concern. One major problem with cryptocurrency is volatility. The prices of cryptocurrencies on exchange platforms rise and fall drastically over a short period of time, plus the market is largely unregulated. Well, it seems like everyone agrees that it could be a good thing, but we aren't ready for it yet, as we would need to completely overhaul the financial system, the business culture in the country, and even education around the topic. Good answers, people. So tonight, I leave you with this question. I've complained about several recent developments in this country that concern me, but I want to know what recent developments in the country actually concerns you the most. Think about that question and let us know in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in Thursday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Noriko Bullford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.